Welcome back to Wake Up America. Live look at the U.S. Capitol, where President Trump will be heading in about an hour or so to try to persuade Republicans get behind the one big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, the president has implored the holdouts to stop talking and get it done, but negotiations are still a little slow. Joining us now for more, Congressman from the great state of Texas and member of the House Budget Committee, Gill. Great to see you this morning. So what's it going to take, or what does the president need to say today to get everyone on board with this bill?
You know, it's going to be really exciting to hear from the president this morning, as it always is. I think what he's going to say is he's going to remind us that this one big, beautiful bill is able to fulfill so many of the promises that President Trump and House Republicans ran on this past election cycle, the promises that got us a majority in the House in the first place. This is going to increase wages by up to $13,000 per family from these tax cuts. It's going to secure our border. It's going to plus up our military, which we desperately need after the Biden administration. And it's also going to repeal massive portions of the Green New Deal. These are all things that every single Republican supports. I think he's going to be reminding us that this morning.
Yeah, Congressman, in our last segment, we had one of your colleagues, Buddy Carter, on talking about the same thing. And he said he's never seen a perfect piece of legislation in all his days. So what does it take to get some of those to say yes to the 90% of what they want and not hold out for the whole 100?
Yeah, listen, there's always negotiations here, and no legislation, you're exactly right, is perfect, and we're moving this thing in the right direction. There are some discussions about when work requirements, for instance, for Medicaid should kick in. Originally in the bill, they were at 2029. We're hoping to move those up to 2026 or at least move them up a bit. That's one thing. Another is repealing even more of the Green New Deal than we already have here. So there are a few sticking points. There's some dials that can be turned here to get everybody on board. I think we're going to get it. But again, this is part of sort of how the sausage is actually made. You know, you can see every single instance, every single negotiation gets played out on national TV. At the end of the day, we're going to get this thing done, though.
And I know that some worry that this bill would add $3.3 trillion to the debt over the next decade or so. So in your opinion, is it fiscally responsible enough?
It absolutely is. Listen, this is $4 trillion of tax cuts, up to $4.5 trillion of tax cuts. This is going to come from it's going to be offset by $2.5 trillion of economic growth and $1.5 trillion of spending reductions. That balances. That's under GDP assumptions that we have that are lower than what the White House has, lower than what they're expecting. They're expecting a 3% GDP growth. We're only underwriting 2.5%. So I think there's actually some upside here from where we are projecting.
Yeah, having done this for a while, the one thing that's more wrong than meteorologists is the Congressional Budget Office. But one of the things I want to ask you about,
That's right.
Speaker Johnson's been very clear. We're getting it done by Memorial Day, by Memorial Day, by Memorial Day. I even questioned whether he could get it done. He looks to be right now on the finish line. Talk to me about his leadership in this process and how he's really brought the caucus together.
Well, remember, it's easy to forget, but we have only a 2 or 3 seat majority in the House right now. And the House Republicans have all kinds of different divergent caucuses. We represent districts across the entire country that at times have different and conflicting interests. What the Speaker's job here to do is to balance all of those interests and get all of us on the same page. You know, whenever you see Democrats pass massive bills, big pieces of legislation, all of them vote in lockstep. Their leadership comes in and they say you will vote for this whether you like it or not. On the Republican side, we have real substantive debates about how to move big bills forward, and that's what you're seeing here. That's why it looks messy, but this is actually the process of making this bill even better for the American people. So that's what we're working on. Speaker Johnson has brought everybody together. Every single faction, every party that has these different interests, whether they're asking for an increase in the SALT cap, or they're asking for more Medicaid reforms or more Green New Deal, whatever it is, all those people have been negotiating this and are actively negotiating it under Speaker Johnson's leadership.
Congressman Gill, great to have you with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, turning now to this morning's Newsmax crime report, we'll leave it to some in the legacy media